with the man, the myth, the legend, Austin Hancock, all the way from sunny San Diego. Yes, for all Oklahoma people, we're still showing love. Anyways, this guy came to my office, gave some nuggets, shared all to my agents how to make money many different ways, not just be a one-trick pony. So, for all of you guys on the other side of this lens, if you're thinking of looking for a mentor, somebody who's the real deal, somebody's gonna tell you the truth, and also somebody that gave his service for our country, make sure you hit up my boy, Austin Hancock. Take it away, let's go.
And they wanna see me pick back up, well, where'd I leave it at? I know I exaggerated things, now I got it like that. Tuck my napkin in my shirt, cause I'm just mobbing like that. You know good and well that you don't want a problem like that. You gon' make someone around me catch a body like that. No, don't do it, please don't do it. Cause one of us goes in and we all go through it. And Drizzy got the money, so Drizzy gon' pay it. Those my brothers, I ain't even gotta say it, that's just something they know. They know, they know, they know.
Hey, what's up guys? Diego Alba here. You already know I own the IE, but let me tell you something. Man, it was great seeing Austin coming out here to Cali. Now that he's out here officially in Cali, seeing him present. I've seen him before. This dude's the real deal. There's a lot of fake people out there. This dude is the real deal, so look out for him. He's gonna be blowing up in California. Let's go.
Yeah, I be yelling out money over everything, money on my mind. Then she wanna ask when it got so empty. Tell her I apologize, happened over time. She says they missed the whole Drake, girl, don't tempt me. If they don't get it, they'll be over you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Moreno, Executive VP of Home First Mortgage Bankers, business missionary with the American Dream Team. We're here, Century 21 Prime Time with Austin Hancock, and today he dropped some golden nuggets. He's a real one, teaching you how to invest, wholesaler, everything that you need to know about this side of the business. And there's so many ones out there that say they're doing it, but are they doing it? He's doing it. So thank you, Austin, for the golden nuggets. Definitely gonna follow you and make sure that I keep my eye on you, because you today filled me with knowledge that is valuable to the core. Thank you, sir.
They know, 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 yeah, they know, yeah, that the real is on the rise. Fuck them other guys, I even gave them a chance to decide. Now it's something they know, they know, they know, they know. I be yelling out money over everything, money on my mind. Tell them I apologize, it happened over time. They know.
All right, let's do this. What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy? Thank
How
you
are
so
you?
much for
Yeah,
coming.
of course. Thank you.
This is my broker, Felix.
How are you? Felix, Austin, nice to meet you.
Rest your legs a little bit. We'll go into the office.
Sure, sure.
Come
Yeah.
on, you got your card in here? Yeah, man, Austin. So what you been up to?
Oh man, just getting acclimated to living here, you know?
Yeah, man, it's a total change for you, huh?
Yeah, big change.
Shit, I want to do something with you.
Let's do it.
We just bought the building next door.
Okay.
We're about 150 agents.
Okay.
But everybody's just so transactional. I'm like, dude, we gotta do something else.
Is everybody retail?
Everybody's retail.
That's what I was gonna ask everybody out there, like the audience, and like kind of see what they want. Yeah, this is my wife, Alicia.
Nice to meet you. You guys want a bottle of water?
Sure, yeah.
Let's go. Let's get it for you. Yeah. So.
This is the man, Alicia. I remember I showed you the business cards.
Yeah.
This is where I got them. Yeah, it's such an awesome.
I want to be having your lifestyle with your daughter. When I see you, I'm like, look at this guy.
This guy living it up.
I'm like, living it up. Like, that's the life.
It's true.
And I tell people,
Yeah.
the real deal. Like, you want to do what he's doing, having a life. It's not all about the toys. Like,
Well, because you can hustle your ass off in wholesale just like retail real estate, you know, and you can make a bunch of money, but if you don't grow a business around it, and if you don't also own assets at the same time, then what do you have? You have nothing. How many agents do you know that have freaking spent their entire life being an agent, made a ton of money, but at the end of it, it's fucking over?
no retirement party.
Nothing. No retirement
Yeah,
party.
no, well, that's awesome, and I want to thank you guys for being here.
I appreciate you inviting me out, man.
Let me pump this crowd up.
Pump them up.
You'll see how I'm kind of like, you ever seen Prime? Coach Prime?
Yeah.
Sanders, with his,
He's just yelling at the mic.
Yeah, I do all kinds of weird stuff. We also do the BMF belts.
Bad motherfucker.
I gotta get you one.
So I met Alfred at another real estate event when I was in Oklahoma. I flew out to Riverside to speak at this event for Neil, plug Neil with the deal. And let me tell you, connections and being willing to travel, willing to get out of your comfort zone look at I am now. I've already been in California for less than 50 days, and I'm already at an event about to speak to over 100 plus agents and explain investing and what we do. Oh, okay, awesome. What's up, guys? Thank you, I appreciate it. Very welcoming, I appreciate it. And of course, the hype man, Alfred, big time, right? So, like he said, my name's Austin Hancock, and I didn't come with a specific presentation because I kind of wanted to feel the room out, kind of engage with you guys, ask a few questions, see where you're at in your real estate career. As he said earlier, I'm a real estate investor, full-time by trade, so what does a real estate investor mean? In my opinion, it means having many tools in your tool belt. So being able to do multiple things, right? Purchase property, hold property, flip property, wholesale property, creative finance property, having a solution for any of our clients' problems, okay? And so what's important and what I think Alfred and I discussed a minute ago about going over and presenting on is kind of making sure that as a retail agent, hands up if you're a retail agent in here. Who else just retail? Okay, any investors in here? A few investors, okay, cool. Any wholesalers? All right, good. Got a wholesale? Okay, awesome. So making sure that we can solve the problem regardless of the situation, okay? A little bit about myself. So I'm originally from Oklahoma. I just moved to San Diego. I actually moved to Del Mar, right outside Del Mar, Carmel Valley area. Roughly March 1st was my first time. So I've only been here about like 45 days, right? I've built 3 of my own homes in the past, my custom homes, ground up. And then we just sold our last one to move here, so super exciting. On that specific house, I'll go back and tell my backstory, but on that specific house, we net a little over $500,000. So I say that because it's real. The net's important. A lot of realtors talk about gross and revenue and things like that, but what's really important is what you guys put in your pocket. So going back to my story, so I'm originally from Oklahoma City, grew up there, and I joined the Marine Corps right after high school. I grew up in a family construction business, so learning every single facet of construction, concrete, trim carpentry, everything pretty much in construction, ground up. And after that, I didn't want to do construction. I wanted something more for my life, so I joined the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps 4 years. That's kind of where I got my taste of SoCal, right? I went to MCRD, Marine Corps Recruit Depot down south. And yeah, that's right. All right, thank you. I loved it. Thank you. And so, yeah, I love SoCal. I got a little bit of that vibe. And I grew up watching all the car shows and the SoCal vibe. And, you know, coming from Oklahoma, a lot of cowboys, a lot of less tattoos, a little more chill, right? I wanted to go be out like that. So I was happy to be there. I went to the School of Infantry down here. And then I went to Iraq in 2007 and 2008. And I ended up getting out of the Marine Corps in 2010. At that point in my life, getting out of the military, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my career. I knew I wanted more, but I was only 21 years old at that time. So I got out about 21, 22, and I hadn't even met my wife yet. So I was pretty young, but pretty lost too when I came back because I got to do some cool things. I was in charge of, working with VIPs, battalion commanders. I did a few operations where we had a personal security detail for like Senator McCain when he was during the presidential elections overseas. And so, to me, very exciting stuff. So to come back to Oklahoma, wind all the way back to my hometown, and to start back as a labor hand in construction was kind of demotivating. I felt very lost for a little bit. Fortunately, I had some mentors that I had met at the gym and kind of outside of my workspace specifically that kind of pushed me off into starting my own business. And so in 2014, I started my own business and I became a home builder. So I built my first spec house. So ground up spec. I was able to partner with somebody in order to get the first ground up loan, so basically a construction loan. And I sold that project for $45,000, which was more than I made the entire year per hour as a labor hand. And so that was a big win for me and opened my eyes to how money can be made. From there, I just continued to scale that building company. Okay, so I went and started doing the parade of homes. I got a few custom home clients, and when I did custom homes, you guys are probably kind of familiar. Who's familiar with like full-blown custom home stuff, like high-end stuff? Yeah, so I would do cost plus, and so I would do these clients' house from the ground up. We'd work on plans. We would do everything, anything they wanted that they can afford. We'd make it happen. And so that's where I kept growing and growing that business. But what I had done unintentionally was create a more labor-intensive job that I got paid more for. So I was making great money and grew a business and had teams and people, but at the same time, I didn't have any of my own time. I lost all my time. My freedom was gone. And that's not really what I got into business for. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but I'm glad I learned that stuff in order to get me where I am today. So at that point, through that journey, I got married. I had 2 daughters. They're 13 months apart, so that was a wild ride. My wife stopped working because she got pregnant, had the kids, and then became a bookkeeper, which she didn't want to do, right? Like, so when we're growing our own businesses, a lot of times our spouse gets sucked into it. Somebody else, family members, whatever we can do, we got to wear 1,000 hats to get things done, right? So that was stressful, but it was what I wanted and was the best thing for me. But I still knew I wanted to do more, and I wanted to live a better lifestyle, truthfully. It was all about, experiences and living a lifestyle and being able to do business from a business standpoint based on the numbers, not an emotional standpoint. A lot of times in retail real estate, in custom home building, it's about, I don't like this home because of the paint. I don't like the exterior because of the brick, the rock, things like that. And to be frank, I wanted to make money without the emotions being involved. I wanted to figure out how I could just do business. Does this make sense to buy? Does this make sense to invest in? Okay, then it doesn't matter if I am emotionally attached to the cabinets in the kitchen or I'm emotionally attached to the location and things like that. And so I knew I had to go out and get more education. I had to go educate myself. I only knew construction and I only knew what I was taught in the military before, and it wasn't going to get me to the next place where I wanted to be as an investor. And so I invested in mentorships and education, and this is kind of before all of Instagram's, gurus were out there, for lack of a better word. It was when there was books and you had to go to a real estate investing meetup and ask somebody and then maybe watch YouTube because it was kind of new at the time in that space, and then go to physical classes and educate yourself. And so that's what I started to do. I started to listen to books, and when I would check project to project, I would listen to podcasts. Bigger Pockets was kind of just starting and popping off. There was a few other podcasts I would listen to and books and just try to learn. And during that time, I was not only learning about real estate investing, but I was also learning about myself. A lot of self-development during that time because I had to break through a lot of glass ceilings that I had for myself and limiting beliefs that I didn't necessarily even know I had about money. As I grew up, my dad, I said, owned a construction company. That's who I worked for. I didn't ever have a job for anybody else. I just worked for the family business, then went to the military, came back and did the same. And so everything I knew about entrepreneurship was shaped around what my family's views. That's all I knew. And so whatever they said, that's what entrepreneurship looked like. But then I would see other people having this lifestyle, living it totally different, not working from 6 to 6 p.m., right? At the office, at a brick and mortar store, And so I had to kind of find out, I wanted to know how I could do that, how I could live my life while still making money. It was mind-blowing. I still felt like I had to trade my time for money. And so I invested in that education program, and I started learning about all the facets of real estate investing. And it was like drinking from a fucking fire hose. I'm sure you guys have been there, or maybe you are there now. There's so much information. How is this applicable to me? What lane do I pick? Well, this guy over here on Instagram is telling me to do wholesale. This guy over here is telling me to do creative finance. This person's over here telling me to hold property. And there's so many things that it's overwhelming. And you can't digest it all and you can't apply it all. And if you do try to apply it all at one time, you're more than likely going to fail. And so where I came from is I didn't start wholesaling. A lot of people start either as an agent or as a wholesaler to get into real estate investing. I started as the construction labor hand all the way to the owner of the company. And then I started another service business at the same time, which I still own. And then I worked my way into being the investor. And something that was really hard during that transition was, one, learning the information, but also unlearning patterns that I'd already created for myself as a builder, because it was a very traditional company. You would show up at 7, you would go check the jobs from this time to this time, be back at the office, print off some stuff, very paperwork intensive, talk to at the time now, when I got larger, bookkeeper, project managers. I mean, I was driving all over the metro, and I mean, 2 hours here is nothing, but 2 hours in Oklahoma, you could reach almost the end of the state. So I was driving all over the place, getting these projects done. It's just the truth. Yeah, we were on our way up here, and my wife's like, holy shit, that's only 2 hours away, we could see the mountains. You gotta understand where we come from, where you're like, well, it's a 16-hour drive to see a mountain, you know? So, very cool, but that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. We wanna have those experiences, but we're only able to do that because of the journey I've been on and what I've learned. And not only are we here, but we're not strapped to a specific job again. We're not strapped to having to be at a specific location. I'm able to come up here. If Alfred said, we want to go to the mountains, I could have brought my kids and we'd go up there today. Like, I just have the ability to do so because of the way I operate my businesses now. But it's because of what I learned. And so I forgot where I was at in the story, but essentially I became a real estate investor. And I started as I bought and held property because I still had an income, a pretty high paying income from building. And so I would buy these properties before I knew what BRRRR was. If anybody's familiar with BRRRR, I would buy these properties and I would rehab them and I would rent them out and then we would keep them and refinance them on longer terms. And so I started with affordable housing, just what I could afford at the time. And at the time when I started, I didn't have the money to go put down 20% or 10%, even on a $50,000 to $100,000 house in Oklahoma. I didn't have that kind of money because all of my money was being reinvested into my building business, trying to survive, trying to thrive, just trying to live. And of course, I've made the classic mistake. I could call it a mistake, maybe not, because I'm here today, of my expenses were creeping up, right? Like I'll be honest, I didn't want to just live super modest while I was still making the money. I wanted to like push myself and live a better lifestyle. And for me, it works for me to put my back against the wall a little further and a little further. That's how it works for me. Would it be smarter to sit there and live in a smaller home and drive paid off cars and scale up your business? Yes, but I could die tomorrow as well. That's something I learned from being in the Marine Corps, was life is very short. And so a lot of people that hoard money under the mattress or live a very boring lifestyle, in my opinion, you could lose those experiences just like that. Understanding what tools and levers, it also means understanding what kind of financing options you have and what's out there. Got it. Does that make sense? One thing I want to say that this gentleman said a minute ago, and I didn't get a chance. You're waiting. So many people are waiting. This is something I get all the time when people ask me. Waiting to get into real estate, waiting to hold property. I'm not ready yet. I get that from agents. I get that from people that work 9 to 5s. I get that from everybody. But when I bought my first deal, when I was a builder, just a builder, I didn't have the 20% to put down. And what's really important is to understand if you buy the right deal, you have the right knowledge, and you create the equity spread instead of bringing the money down for the equity, you can get into a deal too. Because a bank will loan you 70% if you have equitable interest, if you're a title holder, if you're an owner, right? So if you bought, let's just use round numbers, Oklahoma round numbers, all right, so bear with me. If you bought a property for $50,000 and you added $20,000 in rehab to it, but you knew ARV of that property, the as repaired value was worth $100,000, you immediately created a $30,000 equity spread. And so what are we at that point? This is where lending is so important. We're 70% loan to value. Who won't loan you on that? If you have the title, it's my fucking property, bank, give me the money. They'll loan you all day on that. So I was able to get into these properties with little to no money at the very beginning and not having to sink a bunch of active income into my investments. I built it together where I had active income from fix and flips, wholesale, and then I had passive income that say if this property didn't sell, I would flip it over to here to a rental. So I have all these strategies that, does that make sense though, what I'm saying? I don't want to go too deep. But you can get into these deals. Add a 0 to the deal. I don't give a shit. It still works. If somebody handed you a $500,000 house that you knew fixed up was going to be worth $1 million, we're going to make some money on that thing. Or we're going to keep it and make equity spread, which you guys have a great market for appreciation. It's more of a hold play and an appreciation play than it is a cash flow, unless you're in it so well. So there's a lot of things to think about. But going back to Alfred said, I only have that knowledge because of the experience. It's learning. I couldn't explain to you. I could write down, I could write a book, I could do a freaking YouTube video, I could do all this on how to ride a bike. But until you get on that thing and you scuff your knee, you're not going to figure it out. But if you have someone holding the bike and walking you through the process, it's that much easier and that much faster. Am I wrong? That's the biggest thing. It's like when I got into it, and that's why I help people the way I do now, is because when I got into it, I wanted the help. And I would go get the knowledge, and then I'd go fuck it up. And I'd go get the knowledge, and I'd go fuck it up. And what I really wanted was somebody to be able to go, hey, am I looking at this right? You know? Is this correct financing? Do I do this? Maybe it was tiny little tweaks. I've worked with some people, all we made was a few little tweaks, and you know, they're like, oh, I thought this was a deal. By the time we get off the Zoom call, they're like, oh man, I'm glad I didn't buy that. I'm like, yeah, it's just the way, I mean, that's just the way I would look at it, because I know what I'm looking at now. But it took me time to bash my head against the wall and underwrite and underwrite and underwrite, deal after deal after deal after deal. And I would go over and I'd try to find a financing vehicle for it. I'd be like, oh, well, this only makes sense on a 30-year mortgage that I have to go pull myself. And I put little money down, like a lot of people get told, which isn't a bad thing, but be very careful. You know, a lot of those in the mortgages, if you read them, they say, you guys probably know better than I, but you got to live in the home for a specific amount of time, right? There's a lot of caveats. You got to give them your blood sample, your firstborn, all this bullshit. When you go and do an actual mortgage, like a traditional personal mortgage. So, and that's not scalable. They're only going to give you what, 10, right? So, and it's risky out here. What if your market tanks and you got 5% in the deal? You're going to be like everybody else in 08. You need more of an equity spread, in my opinion. You need to learn that side of the business. Otherwise, you're kind of floating around on dreams. Now, if it's your personal residence, cool. I get that. But that means you have to have a job or something that pays that payment. You know what I mean? How can you cash flow a deal like that? Only banking on the long term and the fixed rate? You know? Sure, I do. I have multiple packages because there's many times when I was just offering my one-on-one service, which takes away from my employees, my company, my growth, and people couldn't afford to just do one-on-ones. A lot of people that are the most successful end up doing it. Like I have a guy that worked at the windmill farms. You guys have windmill farms around here, those big, I call them windmill farms. Maybe it's not a windmill. You know what I'm saying? Those things that generate energy. And he worked there. He's like out in the field 4 weeks, home 1. 4 weeks, home 1. He signed up. I did one-on-one. I worked with him, and he did a deal. He bought his first flip, an affordable housing flip, very low risk in my opinion, because he could have rented it. And he bought it, and he turned around and sold it in 81 days, and he made net in his pocket $25,000. And that's in Oklahoma. That's an affordable housing market. So I think he sold the deal for like $147 or something like that. So anyways, to answer your question, contact me. You can get on my website, austinhancock.com. That's super easy. Or DM me on Instagram. Just message me back and forth, and then we can start talking and chat from there. This just leads you to, straight up, just leads you to a landing page. It's going to ask you a few questions, and then you're going to communicate directly with me, and I'll reach out. Or you can just direct message me and communicate with me directly from there. I'm really connected with wholesalers, even in SoCal. That was another thing that was easy, is I already started getting wholesale deals immediately down in SoCal. I'm really good friends with some of those guys down there if you're at GG Homes. But yeah, absolutely. They can connect with me on anything. You can invest with me, or you can look at deals in Oklahoma. We'll help you look at those deals from out of state. Maybe you can get more property, which maybe 100% you can get more property for, which diversifies your dollar, which diversifies your investment. You know, I have 2 or 3 students that do live in California that are investing in Texas, are investing in Oklahoma, are investing in the Midwest and the South just because of that. Like average purchase price? Yeah. Oh, I stay sub 250. 100%. I say affordable housing, but like I said, I always want to have multiple exit strategies. So I would analyze this market the same if I was going to take on a flip. Don't get me wrong. Even moving here, I got real excited because I'm like, I got the knowledge. I could custom home this thing. I could fucking Joanna Gaines the hell out of this bad boy, and we're going to be on HGTV. But the reality is it's not a smart move because I don't want to sit on this thing. I also still have a chapped ass from sitting on property too long to where it just breaks the bank the entire year. So I don't want to take that risk. So I mean, I would still analyze it the same. I would look at the specific area. I would say, what is affordable housing? Where am I cash flowing positive at a rent rate? And then I would only look at those deals below. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like if it was $400,000, but I could still make, $500 to $1,000 a month in cash flow, which you probably make more cash flow because it's a larger property here if you buy right. And I would make sure that I bought it right. That's the only thing. So what I'm saying is the math is the same. Underwriting is the same. and it's this. I know it gets complicated, but it's this. Can we make money on it? Like, that's it. Doesn't matter. That's the only way you need to learn, is to underwrite. Can we make money on it? Can I make money as a rental? Can I make money as a flip? If I can't flip it and I have to hold on to it for 90 to 120 days, can I turn it into a rental? What kind of leverage do I have bank-wise, like tools that I can immediately shift it over to? Like I said a minute ago, maybe it doesn't make sense at a 12-month bridge loan to hold this $500,000, $600,000 flip, but if I have to keep it and I put somebody in there for $5,000 a month and then transfer it or refinance it over to a 30-year fixed loan on a 7, am I in a good spot? Hell yeah, most of the time. So the math is the same. It's just like I have to underwrite multiple ways to make sure that it makes sense and that I can't get hurt. You know, if it's risky, if it's a spec house like I used to do, you know, that's a risk. That's a gamble. I remember going to my first real estate seminar, and the dude that I was learning from was worth over $100 million. He has a tons of portfolio, and it's like in Indianapolis. All very affordable housing, even more than Oklahoma. And I was like, yeah, I'm a builder, you know, I do some specs, this and that. He goes, I would never do a spec. And I was like, whoa, what? I mean, I made $45,000 on one, I made this. And he's like, yeah, it's a risk. You have no exit. You have one exit strategy, and then somebody has to fall in love with the home. Somebody has to emotionally buy it. Somebody has to be able to approve to get the loan. Somebody has to get an FHA loan. And if you have a flip, ever done a flip, they're going to fucking scrutinize the shit out of it. You know, all this stuff. So I was like, oh, man, that's not such a deal. That's a risky deal. I have one exit strategy. Like, I don't want to be in that game. Like I told you all a minute ago, I was in that kind of game, and I hope I close these people because, and they're going to the next builder, and the next builder, and the next builder, and they're shopping the shit out of all of us. I hope I was the right guy. And sales would have helped a lot. I didn't have sales experience at the time. But I was like, dude, if I have multiple exit strategies and it makes money, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That make sense? You guys have a great appreciation rate, right? So I was not looking for appreciation. I was hoping that I could get some appreciation in Oklahoma, but it sure as shit isn't what you guys get out here. You guys get great. But you get peaks and you get valleys. And so if a valley comes when you're thinking it's going to be a peak and you only have 5% equity in your portfolio that you accumulated on VAs or small mortgage loans or low down loans, now you're 15% upside down. You know, who knows where it could go? And for me, that's too risky. I just wouldn't do it. Be able to be non-emotional and pass until you find one that really is a deal. You know, a lot of people want to get hooked into the deal when they come to me too. They're like, Austin, this is the deal. I want to do this deal. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I wouldn't do this deal. You can do what you want to do, but this is the way I'm thinking about it, and I don't think you have an exit strategy.
There's a whole concept of having like a coach or a mentor.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's your risk, man. Yeah, and another thing that some of you guys raised your hand about knowing what contract for deeds are, that's another exit strategy that we use, lease options. And essentially what that is, and I haven't done one in California, so disclaimer, talk to your real estate attorney. You guys probably all know one. You could do exit strategies and finance the property. So essentially you're selling it on a contract instead of renting it, and that the last payment, they get the deed. So I'll require typically a 10% down payment. So it's somebody that can't get a traditional loan. They can't get a loan. They're not bankable, but I underwrite them on my own accord, and then I approve them, and then they'll finance it for me. And in Oklahoma right now, I'm getting 12% interest, for my loans that I give on my notes that I create in a contract for deed. And I'll get a minimum of 10% or $10,000 down. But we're also talking about less. Yeah, an attorney, my real estate attorney in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Yeah, state by state. If I did one here, I would find somebody here, which I could do. And but you do have to watch out for the due on sale clause. So that's not talked about enough, and I've literally had it happen. I had a seller finance deal where I bought a portfolio of 15. That was the one I was telling you guys about a minute ago. I bought a seller finance. He and I agreed to put $200,000 down. He gave me 10% interest only. I wanted control of the portfolio because I wanted to take it from $800 rents a month to 12 to 13, clean up the properties, add value over a 3, 4, 5 year period, and then refinance out. And so once I have control, I have equitable title, I own the properties, I can do what the fuck I want with them for the most part. But during that transaction, the bank found out that he had the loan with originally. And so kind of what you're saying, I had a wraparound mortgage on him and the loan. They found out and they did a due on sale clause. So the bank's attorneys hit him up and said, hey, we're gonna freaking foreclose on all these loans and it's due on sale immediately. And so he has to pay his loan off. He's like, dude, what are you gonna do? And fortunately, I have the bankability, I just refinanced all of them into another loan. And so I just used debt to pay off his debt and continue to grow. But you know, those are the kind of things you have to learn and have to be prepared for. Because a lot of times online wraparound mortgages are really sexy and things like that, but they could be a house of cards in the case that they have low equity and you don't have the ability to finance them because you have no background. You're going to start scrabbling around trying to find a bank. I already had multiple banks. I picked up the phone and we started the process like that, right? They already know I'm pre-approved, I'm ready to roll. But I knew that was in my back pocket. And you guys, you need to make sure that that's in your back pocket as well. If you don't have any in-game, any financing tools like that, because you haven't built those relationships with the banks, you haven't done business long enough, built that business relationship, which we can talk about in a second too, then it's really hard. And like I said, it could be a house of cards. I don't know. It depends on the situation you're in, because this is a funny story. When I first built my own house, my CPA was advising me to buy a new company truck, buy an F-250, you know, write off stuff, things like that. And that's pretty common in Oklahoma. Somebody laughed. But anything that's $50,000 and above, you know, you can write off. At the time, it was like $50,000 for the write-offs. And so I would write off all these things and look like I made no money on paper. And the bad part was when I went to go get a mortgage or my own loan, I could get the commercial loan, I could get the construction loan, but I wasn't gonna be able to permit because I didn't have any wasn't making any money. So I had to start showing to make some money. So I did have to pay to play at a certain point, but I've gotten to a certain level now that I can show my balance sheets and my portfolio, my equity, my business credibility that I don't really have to worry about. But it takes levels. But at the beginning, I had to pay to play. And then I went right back to writing off as much as I could because that was just my choice. It's a game, it's a strategy. You need a financial advisor that you can work with, not just somebody that like does your taxes. You know, and each one of you are your own entities, right? Your agents, and so you have your own LLCs, or you have your own companies, whatever you set up as. It's important to structure everything like that. So I had a scenario, good question. I think this may help answer it. I still close them traditionally with a title company, and so everything's, title work's done, and one we bought from an investor, a shady investor, and we were gonna rent it out. He says the tenants weren't paying. We're like, okay, this is normal for us. We buy distressed property all the time. We went and had our property manager go to the door, and they're like, no, we own this home. And we're like, what? You own the home? We closed it. Like, there was no clouded title, there was no issues, no problems. But this guy was super shady. So what he did was he did a contract for deed with these people, which is a note, and he didn't close it at a title company, which is fine. You don't legally have to. They had paperwork that showed that they bought the house like and closed it and paid it off in 2014 in cash. And he was just taking advantage of people. Anyways, what happened was he sold it to them, contract for deed. He still was on title, and they never filed the deed, okay? And then he went in, refinanced the property, got cash out, and then sold the property to us. And so he paid off his loan with our money that we bought it from him from. Is that making sense? So he double sold the property, right? And what we always get title insurance, and so essentially title insurance kicked in. The attorneys came and on our side and sued him. We also sued him for the profits we were going to make on the flip, which was about 25 grand. So we sold to him for around 100. We made $125,000 back, which was a great flip, but bad situation. And then he also had to make sure that the other people were lined out as well. Oh, smells good.
It still smells new, dude.
Smells real good. Oh, sick. That's good, huh? Had to go red in the Ferrari for sure.
Ferrari red, you know?
Yeah. Good job, bro. Looks good. Whew. The windows go back up.
Yeah. I'll bring them down right now.
Nice, man. How many miles you got on it?
20?
Oh, yeah. Not bad. They're hard as hell to get in and out.
I was gonna say hard
Oh,
as
just
heck to get a hold
mine's
of.
the Lambo, same.
And
Let me sit in there. Let me see that
go
thing.
ahead, brother, go ahead.
How do you open that thing? Cool. Oh, we need a freaking spider drop top, bro.
It's okay right there. You can put it. You can just,
Does this one go in it or just hit the button?
You just hit it right there. I always hit it in that little. You see that little pouch?
Yeah. Oh, you just put it right there?
That's it, baby.
Oh, that looks cool. Dude, this is my boys right here. Tell them about your car.
Diego Alba right here. The one Diego Alba, but
That's
hanging out
right.
with my boy Austin.
He does real estate here in the Inland Empire.
Yeah, and all we do is win.
Yep.
We got Austin coming into Cali.
That's right.
All he's gonna do is win out here.
That's what we're gonna take over.
Yep, all day.
It's this Ferrari 488. Funny enough, dude, I don't know if you know this, but like I like the 488 body or the 488 or the 458 before the 488 came out. I like the body of the Ferrari. It looks one of the sexiest looking exotics. Like, you know, it's a good looking car.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It is.
Have you driven the Huracan or a Lamborghini?
I have not.
We'll have to trade like for driving around town and see the difference.
Heck yeah.
Because I mean I like it. It's awesome. And having a convertible here in California is
It's a must.
it's a must
It's a
now.
must, dude.
I'm gonna have to get I want a Dawn. like a Rolls Royce Dawn drop top.
Drop top. That's what
Yeah.
I'm looking at next.
But she's
to be
like,
honest with you.
I don't want to. I want a Cullinan. I was like, whatever. Oh yeah, she's here. Is this the on button? No, that's the
Right
volume.
here, brother.
Oh yeah, sick. You guys are on the steering wheel. Can you adjust the valves for the baffles and the exhaust and stuff? Can you open them and close them?
Yep. This one a little bit is all.
Oh,
different
race
here,
mode. Yeah.
But I
Sweet.
keep it on race. That's
Nice.
You want to hear the Ferrari sound.
Yeah, you do.
You want to hear a jet, you got to hear it.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I dig it. What do you think? Alicia, is this yours? You need one? Let's she go in.
After I get my Chevelle.
Oh yeah, Chevelle's next for sure.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I got my cousin.
I used to have a Chevelle back in the day.
Yeah. We Alicia and I go hard in the paint for the muscle cars, man. Yeah. This thing's cool.
We'll have to do
Dig it.
a day where we could trade off.
Yeah, we'll hang out and roll around town.
You got the car out here, no?
Go SoCal. No, I drove the Rover. I drove her car.
But you got it out there in San
Oh yeah,
Diego.
I got everything. I brought out all three of them.
What's up, guys? If you were not here, you missed it. We're here in the city of Rancho with our very special guest, Austin Hancock. And man, you dropped some nuggets.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you so much for
I appreciate
coming.
you
I owe
having me
a
out.
Big one, bro.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
you having me out,
So
man.
Austin, what do we do next?
Dude, first of all, we educated everybody in there so they can take action. That's the goal, right? I
That's
wanted
right.
to come and deliver a message where people could actually implement the information that we're given, not just a bunch of hoopla.
Correct.
And so the next thing from there, man, we got to have more events. We got to get together more, and then you and I are going to talk some shop and see what we can do in the future.
Absolutely. Let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you much for coming. Stay tuned for more details. Let's go.